The elected representatives also participate not just in passing laws, but also on being on select committees to make sure that laws take a particular direction that builds consensus in the policy making arena. There are, of course, courts who step in from time to time to kind of look at these policy gaps and set right when there are huge gaps. And at the same time, if certain policy mistakes have been made by the rest of the apparatus, then judiciary intervenes and makes them do a course correction. A very interesting case and a landmark judgment has been the Vishaka versus State of Rajasthan, where the court stated that the guidelines given by the court will be implemented until a legislation is passed to deal with the issue. And these kind of interventions gave us the Vishaka guidelines and a safety framework for women at workplaces. And hence, there are multiple actors who come in and do different things to make sure that the policies come into being. And not just that, we should also understand the overall framework of how the policies are made in the country, the different steps that are followed. And here are a few steps for you to look at, where starting from agenda setting to outcome, multiple processes take charge, and all of us can find ways in which we can influence in different parts of this process. Well, let's take a minute, and I would like you to kind of key in your answers because we will not be able to hear to all of your thoughts. When you look at independent India's journey from 1947 till 2010, what do you think were the key defining movements that influenced our policy making in the country?
LPG.
Okay, LPG is one important thing, 1991. Others? You may also key in your answers in the chat.
Economic policy.
Akashdeep, can you repeat that?
The new economic policy.
Economic policies, okay.
Sir, I think there was an industrial policy very long back. I forgot the year. It was known as the Constitution of Economics initially. I forgot the year, but it was socialist in nature, and NEP changed that.
Well, I think 1978 and the emergency and post-emergency periods were a period of time when we turned socialist. The IBM was asked to leave. I think Coca-Cola was asked to leave. Very interesting set of activities happened in the late 70s. And that could be the era that you could be referring to.
Yes.
All right, let's look at also a very holistic view of what happened since independence. There was a Akshar 2020 is a present. We'll come to it. But when you look at the past, there was a clear enamorment for India to look at centralization. We were wedded to that idea. And what also came in is the limit on the number of people who can influence and participate in the policy creation. The derivative of that was the 5-year plans of how a central decision was taken of what will be the priority for the next 5 years. Very interesting things came out of this process. You know, the heavy industries, which formed the foundation of industrial activity in India, they came about from there. The license Raj was dominant during that time. And at the same time, the downstream industries could possibly have enough skilled manpower, etc., that came out because of these large 5-year plans. What also dominated during this time was the volatility at the borders. We had 3 wars, and it had different impact, you know, for over 3-4 decades in the independent young nation. There was something called as PL 480. Anybody who remember what PL 480 was? Well, repeated famines and shortage of food made us dependent on food being shipped from US to India to make sure that we had enough food security. And derivative of that was when Lal Bahadur Shastri said, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, and you know there was a focus on farmers and farmer well-being, and with the Green Revolution and White Revolution is all for us to see of what happened during those years. And an interesting thing happened in the mid 80s.